Hello and welcome. You are watching another episode of my English speaking challenge. This is Casper speaking, and as usual, this is just another video of me struggling to improve my English. So, in today's video, I'm going to focus on answering some IELTS exam questions around the topic of work and study. I'm really looking forward to it. It may be an interesting video, we shall see. So, as always, I have my coffee with me. It's becoming a sort of tradition on this channel. So, yeah, that was a short introduction. And let's get started with the main part of the video. So, as always, I'm going to answer a few questions, and the first one is a simple one. And the question is, do you work or study? Yeah, I work. And I graduated from university a few years ago, and until that time, and from now on, from that time on, I study. So yeah, what about it? What can I say? Can I add something? It sounds like a too short answer, if I'm being honest. Can I say something more? I graduated from university in 2019, and my profession is I'm a teacher by profession, but I also studied Russian philology for a year. I didn't finish. I didn't get a degree in Russian philology, unfortunately. It's the whole another story about my studies at university, and what considers my work. I work at a assembly plant. We manufacture gas meters, and I work as a manager there. I have my own shift. I mean by that that I lead a team of 17 to 20 people. And that's pretty much it. I've been working there for 9+ months, and I really enjoy that work. Moving on to another question. What's your major, or what was your major? My major was history. I'm a bachelor. I studied for 3 years at university, and I'm a historian, and I have qualifications to teach history at primary school. Also, like I said, I studied Russian philology for about a year, but I didn't finish the studies. Did you like it? I don't know, honestly. Definitely, it was an interesting experience, and I have lots of stories to share with you about the time I spent at university, but it was a difficult period of my life. Let's be honest here. It was the time that my life went south, and I didn't have any idea of what I want to do with my life, and I was to a degree lost with my life. Again, I I started noticing some time ago that in my videos I have a tendency to sound like I'm complaining and moaning about life, and I don't want you to see it in that way. Um, because I don't complain here. I'm not complaining. I'm not the sort of person that has a tendency to complain, but I realize that it may sound sometimes like I do just that. I digress. Um, so I kind of enjoyed it. I mean, I met plenty of interesting people. I met there some close friends, but unfortunately, our paths went into other directions. I don't know if that's a correct phrase, but I hope you get the general point. What else can I say? I met some close friends, but unfortunately I lost touch with all of them. I met some valuable people that I hold in high regards, like many extremely well educated professors and doctors, and overall, great people. Um, but like I said earlier in this video, it was a difficult time in my life, and it was the time that I was still living with my alcoholic mother, and living with her was a real struggle for me. I guess it was the most difficult period of my life, if I'm being honest here. But sometimes you just have to move on. So on one beautiful day, I decided to pack my suitcases and leave. As I'm thinking about it right now, I should have done it much more earlier because I wasted so much time at my mother's place. Sometimes you just have no other choice but to move on and leave everything behind. Let me take another sip of my coffee. I hope you don't mind. That would be a shame because the coffee is delicious. I'm a bit of a coffee addict, but I digress again. Moving on to another question. Is it a popular major at your university? No, I don't think so. Many people in Poland say that the only reason that someone studies history is because he didn't get accepted into law studies. But why did I choose to study history at university, you may ask? Again, I didn't have any specific idea about what I'm going to do with my life, and I didn't at that point, I didn't have chosen any profession that I'd like to do in the future, and overall, I was a bit lost in life. I suppose that's my belief, my guess, but I think that many young people don't know what they want to do with their lives, and I wasn't an exception to the rule because you can ask pretty much anybody and ask them this question: what do you want to do uh, in your life in the future? And I would be surprised if you would get a specific answer because I'm 30 now and I still don't know what I want to do later in terms of my work, study, future profession, and the list goes on and on. Maybe, who knows? I will become an English teacher. Maybe this channel will develop into something worthwhile, something valuable. No one knows what the future holds, as they say. But getting back to the subject, history isn't a popular major in my country, um, because there are no many job offers after you graduate in that degree. So you might you might find it hard to find a good job. I'm not even saying that it would be a nightmare to find a well-paid job as a historian in Poland. I don't want to say that they are not respected. They are respected by all means, but you have only a few alternatives if you had, if you studied that degree, if you have that degree, I mean. So, sorry, you might hear some um, traffic noise, some in the background, and some roadworks noise as well, because I've got my window open. And what I was talking about, yeah, history isn't a popular major because it has to offer a small amount of. It has to offer only a few job opportunities. Your you have two main alternatives. One is to become a teacher at school, and the other option is to become a professional historian and to apply to work at university. Maybe there is maybe there are some another options that you can become a tour guide or work at a museum and things like that. I don't know. I haven't considered. I've never considered working in my specialty. I've never wanted to become a teacher. Again, as I've said many times in this video, I didn't know what I want to do with my life, so I just chose history because I was good at it to a degree. By no means I wasn't the best. I was respected by my group, by my friends, but I was pretty good, but not that good, if you know what I mean. And I also I want to mention a few words about my second degree that I didn't finish, and it is a Russian philology, and that was a complete disaster. I didn't finish it because I lost all my motivation to finish the studies, and that was a real disaster. Honestly, I don't want to repeat myself, but what a horrible experience. First of all, people were a real nightmare. Mm, they weren't people that you want to shake hands with and sit at one table with them, at the same table with them. I hope you get the point. Um, they were people that I found impossible to respect. They took drugs. They mm, had casual sex, and they drink alcohol. They were lazy. Sorry. So not a good company. And and the other reason that I quit, that I drop out of university, is that I lost that sparkle that kept me motivated. And because at that time, I was passionate about the Russian language and literature, and I had some knowledge in that subject, but at that time, at that university, I wasn't able to expand my knowledge. I felt that I was stuck in the same place. So yeah, maybe one day I will come back to that studies, to university to finish my degree, but I don't think so. Moving on. Why did you choose that major? So yeah, I was speaking about why I chose history, so I'm not going to repeat myself. And to a degree, I answered that questions in regards of Russian philology. By the way, I have an important thing to mention. I have Russian and Ukrainian roots. Uh, I mean, my ancestors come from Russian and Ukraine. I mean, I am a half Pole and a half Ukrainian. So my father was Polish and my mother was Ukrainian. She came from Donbas in the east of Ukraine. And my grandmother, I mean the mother of my mother, was Russian. So to a degree, I'm a mix. I'm an ethnic mix, whatever it may sound. So in 2016, uh, that was on the day of my 20th birthday, for the first time I went abroad, and my destiny was Ukraine, and I fell in love immediately. I visited Lviv. I spent there a few days. It was an absolutely magical experience to me. I have some memories in my heart that are really precious to me, from that trip, of course. So, and after the while, uh, the thought about learning their language grew up in me. And first, I studied some Russian, and I believe that my Russian is, let's say that I have solid foundations in Russian. And if it comes to Ukrainian, I'm able to read novels. I understand YouTube, radio, but unfortunately, I'm not able to speak. But what am I going with that? The point is that I chose Russian philology because I fell in love with that culture. Yeah, I know that I may contradict myself in my monologue, but I'm speaking about Ukrainian and Ukrainian people, but I studied Russian philology. The answer for that is really simple, and it was because my mother was a Russian-speaking Ukrainian. As I've mentioned, she come from the eastern part of Ukraine, and pretty much everyone there speaks Russian, unfortunately, of course. So, yeah, what else can I add? And only later, a few years later, I discovered the difference between Russian and Ukrainian people. I know, funny, amazingly enough, but I didn't think those two nations were different, basically different. I know that was a complete nonsense, but I didn't see the difference. And I mean that many people in West don't see any difference between Russian and Ukrainian people. That's a real pity, but that's the way the things are, I suppose. What's the most difficult part of studying that subject? Again, I'm going to divide my answer into two parts. The first one is going to be about history, and the second one about Russian philology. So, first, the most difficult thing about studying history was that it was really time consuming. It wasn't difficult I just had to devote much time to it. I just had to devote plenty of time to it. And I wasn't the best student, but I was good enough. I got an A grade on my diploma, so it was a success, I think. And so the most difficult part of studying history was to find time. It wasn't easy to find time because I worked full time at that time, and it was challenging at times. But what considers the subject of history itself, there was nothing difficult in my opinion, because I was interested in it, I was really into it, and I enjoyed reading. I still do, of course. Uh, why did I mention reading? It's obvious, because if you want to be a historian, if you study history at university, you need to read a lot, and I mean it when I say a lot. And what were the difficulties of studying Russian philology? I have to give you a completely different answer, and that's because those are two completely different types of studies. Uh, when you study history, all you need to do is to bury yourself into your books. Often you need to learn things by heart, you learn by rote learning, and things like that. But when it comes to Russian philology, the first main obstacle was a foreign alphabet, because, as you probably know, Russian language has a Cyrillic alphabet, not a Latin one like in Polish or English, for example. Uh, so reading in the beginning, reading in Russian in the beginning was challenging to a degree, and there is a popular myth that Russian is similar to Polish. It isn't. Yeah, believe me when I say that. It isn't similar. Of course, there are some words that are pretty much the same, um, but if you go deeper into the subject, you find less and less similarities. Um, in fact, the Ukrainian is much more similar to Polish than even Russian to Ukrainian. Yeah, amazingly enough. But it's true, in my opinion. It's the truth. So, so that was challenging, reading, writing, of course, because my hand had to get used to writing, into write a foreign alphabet, and but uh, luckily I managed to learn it quickly, and till this day I can write really fluently in Russian, and my um, handwriting in Russian is easy to read. It's legible. I mean, illegible is when you can't read it, and the opposite of that is legible. Let me check it. Give me a second. Legible meaning. Yeah, legible. So my handwriting was legible. The funny fact is that when I was studying Russian, and I had a habit of writing down pretty much anything. I took tons of notes, and sometimes I made mistakes in Polish, in writing Polish. So that's funny, I guess. At least it is funny to me, because how can you make mistakes in your native language? You can. It looks like that you can. So that was challenging. And but the most difficult thing about studying Russian was that mm, you expected, I mean, I'm speaking for myself, of course. I'm speaking from my own personal experience. So I was I had too high expectations about my progress and my level. I believed in that myth that Russian is easy, it's similar to Polish, and I would make rapid progress. And it happened to be a complete lie. So, yeah, as everything in life, if you want to, and in language learning specifically, if you want to achieve something, you need to grind, you need to struggle, you need to work really hard every day. And even learning a similar language isn't an exception to that rule. So that's my honest personal opinion. You may disagree with it, I get it. Moving on. Mm, Do you plan to use the subject you are studying in the future? So again, when it comes to history, no, I don't plan to use it in the nearest future, at least, because I'm not planning to continue my studies, and I don't see myself as a historian, as a teacher of history, of course, and stuff like that. But when it comes to Russian philology, I'm not sure that I will continue one day my studies. Maybe I will. Who knows? Sorry, sorry about that. But Russian will come in handy. I mean that I'm really considering starting another YouTube challenge in Russian. Let me remind you that my native language is Polish. Russian is actually my first foreign language. English is my second foreign language. And I believe that my level of Russian is higher than my English level. So maybe I know that this channel is dedicated to learning English, but maybe it's a good idea for it to develop into the platform that I study more foreign languages, not only English, or maybe should I start a channel that is dedicated only to Russian, because having some um, Russian speaking practice would be really useful, because my Russian gets rusty, I guess, because all spare time I spend on studying and practicing English, and it's really difficult to find some space to learn and practice Russian. I don't know. I don't want to cut down on my hours that I devote to English. So I'm caught in a terrible dilemma. Let's say it this way. It's a terrible dilemma because I don't want to divide my attention into two projects. Hours that I have during the day are limited. I just need more hours during the day, but that's not possible, I'm afraid. So yeah, getting back to the question, I'm going to use my Russian in the future, and I hope that in not too distant future. So I've been thinking about creating another YouTube channel dedicated to Russian culture, literature, history, and the practice. I could really use some practice of Russian. Moving on. But the video is getting pretty lengthy, and I'm glad. I'm really happy about that. Let me check the time. I only have 30 minutes before I set off to work. I work a second shift today from 2 p.m. to 10 p.m. So soon I'm going to finish this video because I need to get ready. But there are two questions left, so I'm going to wrap up this video soon. I promise. If you could change to another major, what would it be? That one is a good one to answer, honestly. But again, I've said it many times, but I don't really know. The first thing that comes to my mind, and I've been thinking about it, and I was thinking about it in the past, is that I should have chosen some medical degree like nursing. Nursing is the good one because in recent years nurses had a significant payment rise, and they earn a lot of money on Polish standards, in Polish standards. So, but again, the job is extremely challenging. Nurses often work gruesome work week. Like by the way, I worked in hospital for 4 years, so I have an inside view. So yeah, I worked there for 4 years, and the job was difficult to say the least. I knew some nurses that worked even for 100 hours a week. Can you imagine that? Devastating, exhausting, and I don't know how they can live working that ungodly hours. Yeah, that's true. And I wouldn't like that. I know money is good, but on the other hand, the problem is that if I want to earn good money, and for example, if I had a degree in nursing, I would earn a decent salary. Not decent, really good salary, I should say. But I would need to sacrifice my family, my free time, my interests, and I don't know if I'm willing to pay the price. I know it may sound cliche, but money isn't the most important thing in the world. Of course, they are extremely important, but there are things more important, if you ask me, than just money. I appreciate having free time. I love spending time with my girlfriend. I'm passionate about learning languages. I wouldn't like to lose it, to exchange it for money. Can someone pay me for learning English? Seriously, it would be great if someone would pay me for learning English, or Russian, or any other language. I'm a language geek, so if you want to pay me, you can contact me. But so yeah, I considered another major, and the major would be nursing. But no, I changed my mind. I'm not ready, and I wasn't ready. I'm still not ready, and I'm afraid I wouldn't finish these studies. And I have a busy life, and I'm afraid that I would waste tons of money, because if you want to study as an adult, you need to pay for it. Otherwise, higher education in Poland is free. But if you choose to study privately, I mean not in private, but in a private university, at a private university, you need to pay for it. All right. Moving on to the last question for today? Would you change it? Would you change it if you had the chance? I'm not sure if I would change it. I mean, there are times that I do regret the choices that I've made in my life, But on the other hand, I know again it may sound a bit cliche, but uh, I don't regret it, honestly, because of them I am the sort of person that I am now. So it shaped me. My previous experiences had a major impact on me. It influenced me in a lot of different ways. What else can I add? It made me who I am today. Of course, I could have made plenty of better choices in my life, but I'm not so sure if I had a choice. I don't know if I met a genie who would mm, who would grant me three wishes. I'm not sure if I would choose to change anything in my past, because let's put it this way. Let's put it this way. Um, if I changed something in my past, I wouldn't have met my girlfriend, which I really love, and I wouldn't want to lose her. So that's the most important thing that come from my previous life choices. Yeah. So another, uh, I I guess I'm starting to form a habit when it comes to finishing my video, and as I can see, I'm trying to finish my videos on a positive note. And a positive message for today's video is that you really shouldn't regret anything. I mean, yeah, you should regret things like if it destroyed your life, if you became a drug addict, for example, if you became addicted to gambling, alcohol, and many things like that. If your wife and children left you, for instance. So yeah, that things you should regret. But otherwise, previous experiences shape you. And thanks to them, you become the sort of person that you are now. And let's take me as an example. I'm kind of person that just moves on. If I had some bad experience in life, I try to, I do my best to think it over, to draw some conclusions from it, and accept the fact that the things that happened, uh, I can't change. If something happened, I'm not able to change it. So it's easy like that. No, it isn't easy. What am I talking? What am I even talking? Again, I'm talking nonsense. But it's never easy. But again, I firmly believe that you should accept the past, think it over, draw some conclusions, and move on. Because remembering the past won't do you any good. In the past, I had a tendency mm, to think over my bad experiences, and I really dreamed about changing some things, but as it later came to me, it didn't have much sense. I was just wasting my time, and it was counterproductive, because if you remember that things, if you mm, if you don't forgive yourself for all the mistakes that you'd made, you won't be able to move on, and regret can ruin your life. Honestly, I know what I'm talking about. If you don't move on, that kind of experiences can ruin your life, and you won't be able to move on and start a new life. Unfortunately, I'm one of those lucky guys that moved on. Again, I know I keep repeating myself, but I want to deliver the message. So yeah, where was I? I'm one of those lucky guys that I don't know how to express my thought. Again, I'm lucky enough to move on. Again, I hold grips of myself. I stood up and pretty much that's it. I want to tell you that I don't know what I'm going to tell you. So, unfortunately, I don't have much time left, and it's the new record as I'm looking at the time counter. I've been speaking for 41 minutes, and I'm really proud of myself. But I need to wrap up this video because I need to prepare myself for work. I need to eat something, etc. So yeah. What else can I say? I hope you enjoyed this video. Um, I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. Definitely enjoyed it. I hope it wasn't too boring. What else can I say? Thanks for watching and see you in the next episode. And the next one is going to be an important one because it will be the day number 40. So a nice round number. But by then, cheers. See you in the next video. Bye.